Hello, everybody. I hope you all are having a wonderful evening. We're here tonight to talk about how Kylie Jenner has been receiving some backlash, calling her a climate criminal. But what's really happening is that the media was not putting out the truth. So back a couple days ago, there were articles written, and it was a top story on Twitter, and videos have been made by various creators, one being Fxllxng that I know of. And they were saying that Kylie Jenner was being this climate criminal based on her jet flight history. So what happened was Kylie Jenner had received this backlash because there were receipts shown of her taking minutes-long flights across town for what they said was to avoid traffic and 40-minute car rides. So the criticism first began to brew with Kylie when Kylie posted a photo on Instagram. This is the photo right here. And it was a picture of her and the rapper Travis Scott embracing near their respective private jets and a Rolls Royce. And it says, "You want to take mine or yours?" So commenters quickly pounced on Kylie's post as an out-of-touch display, while also noting how environmentally damaging these private jets are. Now, here are some of the comments that were under this post. Now, this one says they were commenting to a friend. She takes 3-minute flights. The emissions are crazy. Celebrities are crazy. This one was another one that was replying to someone, and they said, "I'm pretty sure more planes take off in one day more than she uses her jet. And honestly, one jet ride isn't going to do shit." Now, this one says, "While the average human is doing their best to help the earth, you are polluting it." Now, these two say, "Everyone saying you're just mad, you're broke is dumb AF. If everyone was this rich and acting like her, we would have no planet to live on anymore. Being rich and successful is not a reason to excessively pollute the earth we all share." And this one says, 100 couldn't agree more. "Have some sympathy for the rest of people who can barely afford to fill their car right now for things that are out of control." Now, this comment right here says, "So this is why our air is so polluted, fighting over those jets to take?" While this comment right here says, "Private jets emit 5 to 10 times more emission than regular airlines. That's a fact which you can easily look up." And this last comment right here says, "Why do I have to limit my meat consumption and use paper straws while the 1% gets to pump tons of carbon into the atmosphere for a day trip to Palm Springs?" Now, after receiving the backlash of these comments, soon after that, Twitter unearthed her plane's flight history, showing a habit of taking absurd short trips. where they accused her of hopping on her jet to take flights that are regularly less than 15 minutes, and in one case, a trip to Camarillo to Van Nuys, and took approximately 3 minutes in the air. Now, here is what Celebrity Jet tweeted. So it says that Kylie Jenner's jet took off from Camarillo, California, USA, going to Van Nuys, California, and it says the abbreviation for Van Nuys Airport, arriving in 3 minutes. And I think that's where people got confused, because it says arriving in 3 minutes. Though it is like a 15-minute flight, I think people got confused by that little statement right there. Now, there was a couple replies. Someone did reply with this, where it says a 51-minute drive right now. And then, of course, this person said that I've flown in and out of Van Nuys multiple times and frequently use the rental car program. She's not the only one that does this to avoid hellish LA traffic. But the fact the public is just becoming aware of this is hilarious. Laugh out loud. Now, Kylie has bought this jet for $72.8 million right before the pandemic hit. An article suggested that a private jet like Kylie Air can emit over 2 tons of CO2 and is 5 to 14 times more polluting than a commercial plane. Now, one reported by the Boston Globe an article which attempted to link private aviation usage to climate change. The author noted that private jet trips were responsible for nearly 34 million metric tons of carbon pollution back in 2016. Now, this was according to a study done in 2020. But what they failed to mention was that private jets account for just 0.04 of emission. When looking up just how many airplanes were in the sky, this is what I was shown when I looked it up at 3 a.m. on 7/21. Look at all those planes. Now, this is just the U.S. This not including Canada above, though there are planes that are flying into Canada. These are just U.S.-based planes. That's a lot of fucking airplanes. I hate to say it, but that is a lot of airplanes. That is not including the whole globe. Just the U.S. at 3 a.m. So can you imagine how many more planes were going back and forth places just during the day? It's unbelievable. Now, the thing is, if you can afford to own a car, we can also debate whether you should be taking the bus. Like, owning and driving a car is more expensive than the bus. It costs to privately fly. So the reason people choose to spend the extra money to fly privately is a combination of privacy, security, and convenience, similar to why one jumps in their automobile instead of walking down to the bus stop. Now, at the time, Kylie had yet to respond to the criticism or take the post down. But since this all went down, I had investigated this with Pope to kind of come to a conclusion that maybe Kylie wasn't even on this 15-minute flight that people were saying that was 3 minutes. And a lot of articles were beginning to write about her and criticize her. What we found was that Travis Scott's plane looks to be in Van Nuys, which we found right here. It's hard to tell, but his plane is very small at the end of the runway, which is at a private hangar. And which this photo was taken, we thought it was possible that the airport in Van Nuys might have not had enough hangars there, and all the private jets of celebrities in that area, because there was a lot of celebrities just a couple miles away in Calabasas, in those fancy rich areas where all the celebrities live, and that it was possible that Kylie's hangar was in Camarillo. This is what we dug into to come up with this conclusion. So this was the private hangar that's in Camarillo. I looked this up today to make sure. We had looked this up then, but this is as of today. Right there, you can see that that is her plane. If you look to the left side, it even says Kylie Jenner. This is her plane ID, and it is one of those gray planes that is in this private hangar, which this is a better view. Planes were taking off. It looked like they were moving planes in the hangar. So that's what it looked like as of today around 5 p.m. Her plane is in a hangar in Camarillo. Now, why would she get on in Van Nuys and then go to Camarillo to then drive home when the Van Nuys airport is very much closer to her house? And if she went to Camarillo, that would have been a 40-minute drive back to Calabasas. It just doesn't make sense. So that is what we investigated. And just the other day, an article came out giving proof to our theories of her plane not being held in Van Nuys, and that all these people that were upset about her taking this quote-unquote 3-minute flight did not consider what we considered, and that Kylie wasn't even on this flight. Now, the Daily Mail had reported that a global 7,500 jet traveled for 35 minutes to Palm Springs, just outside of LA, to the Van Nuys, which is near her $36 million home in Hidden Hills, and that was on July 15th. Then they suggested that 2 hours later, the mom of two then flew from Van Nuys to Camarillo, which the trip took 12 minutes, but people are saying it was a 3-minute flight because of the way the tweet was written. So this is the flight plan, which you can tell went from Camarillo to Van Nuys, then down to Palm Springs area. This was on July 15th. Now, earlier on July 13th, they suggested that Kylie had flown from Camarillo to Van Nuys And that trip took 17 minutes. And that was where she had taken the IG picture before she had taken a 29-minute flight going from Van Nuys to Palm Springs. And here is that flight plan. Now, why would she go from her home to Camarillo to then Van Nuys Airport, take that picture, and then go to Palm Springs? It just didn't make any sense when we first had heard the story. And that's why me and Pope had to investigate this and consider our options, which I'm glad that we had confirmation it was actually yesterday that we got this confirmation that we were kind of right. So when you look at it, according to Google Maps, driving between Hidden Hills and Palm Springs takes between 3.5 hours to 4 hours. So it's likely that Kylie cut her travel time by 2 or more hours for that trip. But let's talk about those flights between Camarillo Airport and Van Nuys. So a very reliable article had several executives that spoke with doubting that the Kardashian star, whose net worth is estimated to be at $600 million, according to Forbes, was not on the flights to Camarillo. More than likely, those flights were without passengers, probably because Kylie, like others, cannot find hangar space at her local airport. Now, Millie Hernandez Becker, who is a director of sales and marketing for Sky Harbor Group, which they build private hangars at a dozen of airports, says that owners can't find space near where they live. There isn't available hangars with capacity at Tier 1 and even Tier 2 airports. Another executive of a major operation that manages aircrafts for UHNW says that since the pandemic, there has been lots of new buyers and nobody is selling, so often there isn't available space. Now, he and another executive say in some cases there is no longer land to build hangars at these busy airports. Also, in others, the local communities see blocking additional hangars is a way to put a lid on airport expansion, while also in other cases, executives cite it is, bureaucracy, which I kind of agree. Now, another executive said that even if there is space, it often entails knocking down existing structures where there are still tenants, where they would need approvals, and it could take up to 5 years to build their new hangar. Now, another business aviation vet added that newer private jets like the Global 700 are quieter, more fuel efficient, and also have a much larger footprint. Its wingspan is 10 feet wide, and hangar space hasn't been keeping up, and they really can't fit these planes in them. Some aircraft owners will also keep their airplanes at remote airports because, one, it could be less expensive, both for rent and fuel, and that has to balance with additional costs. Now, the landing and takeoffs also add cycles to the airframe, which increase maintenance expenses, and it also lowers the value of the airplane when they do put it up for sale. At the time, airport authorities have also been hiking fees. One management company said that rents at larger private jet airports increased by 40% over the past year, which is making owners look for alternative hangars and space. And in some cases, you can save more than $200,000 per year at a different airport. So, since this accusation went around about Kylie, a person familiar with her situation says that there was no available hangar space for her plane at the Van Nuys airport, so she was effectively boxed out. Still, another reason for owners having to fly their planes empty isn't related to parking, but it also can be the rising cost of living in major metropolitan markets. So, whereas the major manufacturers used to have maintenance facilities in Southern California, they have now relocated to Arizona. So they can't afford to pay maintenance technicians what they would need to earn to live in Orange County or Los Angeles County for each time they would need to take their airplane for service. So they are now having to be flown to Arizona for that reason. And many of those flights are passengerless. Now, executives are annoyed that business aviation is once again being used as a lightning rod. This industry has been leading to climate advocacy with sustainable aviation fluid. I was thinking what you put in the plane is kind of fluid, but it's fuel. Carbon offset programs, and all of these articles ignored that business aviation provides essential services like this. Now, these articles are also using celebrities like Kylie Jenner because of their name recognition, which I can understand. But they ignore that most of their flying is getting people to places they can't get to effectively with the airlines. They are pointing to the industry's role as first responders after natural disasters, flying in time, critical medical and emergency response support are being at these airports instead of these celebrities, which is definitely a priority to have before celebrity people having their aircrafts at these major airports. So with all these articles and people covering this story about Kylie, people are assuming of course, in her comment section on Twitter, that she is taking these really short trips. And what they didn't realize was all of this was because the mainstream media was failing to mention any of this and report the actual facts of the matter. So when many are mad, calling Kylie a climate criminal, is she really? She wasn't even on the flight that they are accusing her takes 3 minutes, when reality is it was 15. And all other information provided by these reliable sources in the industry are known facts that they were not putting in these articles. So when other people were reporting on it or reading these, they were very upset, and I don't blame them. But when me and Pope looked into this, we felt that something wasn't right. And when I first saw the map and said, why would she go from Van Nuys to Camarillo when her home is closer to Van Nuys? It just doesn't make sense. And then when we started looking into it, it was like, well, why would Travis bring his airplane to Camarillo just for a freaking photo? It really didn't make sense. So that's why we looked into it. I really wanted to wait to report this because I just didn't feel like something wasn't right. And the more and more we looked into it, the more and more it didn't make sense. And I didn't want to report it as an assumption because of what we had found out. And I'm glad that this one article came out with all the facts. And now, of course, other articles are picking up on this. But reality is, the mainstream media covers what they want. Some things are very political, though they're about celebrities, because they want people to think this. They cover what they want to make celebrities and business executives that have these private planes look bad. It's honestly crazy. And that is another reason why I love to watch Fair and Balanced, because she covers not celebrity news, but she covers mainstream news that these people are putting out, but she tells it like it is, and she explains why they do what they do, and she puts out the truth with facts. I will list her channel down below along with Kylie's Instagram and all of that, because honestly, this is just crazy that people didn't use their common sense, number one. I hate to say that. And two, they jumped to assumptions that she was on what they thought was a 3-minute flight. And they didn't look at the facts. I mean, they did have the Celebrity Jets tweet, which if you look, it shows the photo. People know where she lives. And it was like, why would she go all the way to Camarillo and not get off in Van Nuys where she lives? It just didn't make any sense when me and Pope looked into this. And I'm glad I have him on my side, because when I have stories like this, we really put our brains to use. And we really think all different possibilities, because I know the mainstream media doesn't actually provide always the truth. They put it the way they want people to look at it, kind of to get people, riled up and to put out what they want based on politics that people don't realize is based on politics. Because in the long run, this was about the environment and how all these celebrities like Kylie Jenner were destroying it by having these private planes, taking these short trips, and making them look like terrible people. And for Kylie to get on a plane to go to Palm Springs, like I stated, it was saving her 2 hours, if not more, for her to sit in a car and drive there. You got to realize now she has 2 kids, and it's easier also for her to just put her kids on an airplane than have them sitting in a car for that long. And it's their life. If they want to pay the thousands of dollars in jet fuel, that's up to them. And it's like I said before too, do we need to discuss, like, do we get in our car, which causes pollution, and it's not really cost effective nowadays with all the gas prices, when we can, go on a bus, which is providing more people a service, but saving the environment by providing more people this service, where that's less people driving their cars. Well, we can discuss that. But in the same breath, that's why celebrities also do what they do. It's easier and more efficient for them. Though it costs them money, that's up to them to pay. Just like it's up to us to pay the gas prices that we're paying. But I want to know what you guys think. Did you see all these articles and posts on Twitter about this? What did you think when you saw that? And what do you think now that I've provided this story for you guys and put out the facts that a very reliable news source put out? It wasn't the Daily Mail. Like, the Daily Mail was putting out fake information regarding, carbon and all of that in the air, putting out pollution. They were not putting out the actual facts. What do you guys think? I really want to know what you guys think about the situation. And you can do that by leaving a comment down below where we can discuss it more. Also, make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I do more celebrity influencer news for you all, plus much more that I do here on my channel. I hope you all have a wonderful night, and I will see you tomorrow for our Let's Discuss Live, where we have lots to discuss tomorrow. And I will be putting out a video regarding Amber Heard. I know this situation just never goes away, but there is some news regarding her not being able to pay the bond and how the deadline came and she did not pay the bond, and so much more. So I do want to put out a video explaining that, as well as Kate Moss doing an interview exposing Amber and what she had to say. So you will get that tomorrow along with our live. So be there to hear all the different topics that we have to discuss tomorrow night. Like, Instagram is being sued. Yeah. Along with some other celebrity stories that we can discuss right there on the live, and kind of just get a feel of what everyone is thinking about these different topics. So I will see you then, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening and a wonderful morning tomorrow. Remember, it's a new day, and we should take every day as it comes because life is short. Bye, everyone.